This time, the quick speed shot. I've got this loud, rumbly flathead 37 Ford behind me. Check that out. It's running, sort of, and it was a struggle to get it there. Almost didn't make it. Broke a carburetor, a bunch of other things. You're going to want to see what happens. It's an hour-long saga of Ford flathead goodness, and we're going to start tinkering right now. I pulled the yellow Buick out of the garage. He missed a cold start. I accidentally left the battery on and I had to charge it up some to get it out of there, but she's out here. Let's check this out. Thing's got a 400 small block in it with a cam and roller lifters, roller cam. It's like 10-to-1. It sounds pretty healthy. It's super cold-blooded. I kind of should have captured a cold start, but like I said, I was fighting with a dead battery. Here's the main focus here, the 37 Ford. Down here in the pole barn, everything else is put away. Studebaker truck, 40 Mercury under here. There's the fire Model A truck over here. Got the 37. Hold on, let me turn you around. The old 37 here has got to go to the cavalcade of cars in 3 or 4 weeks, so we've got to get it fired up. We're gonna have to do a cold start. I don't know if it'll start. This is 6 volts. I've been charging it all afternoon, but had some drivability issues with it last time I had it running, so we'll see if it wants to run or not. For a minute. Crap. Ran for a minute, but this old 6 volts don't give you much of nothing. I had the charger on it. The battery is not that old, but you heard how 6 volts, if you don't get them fired up, you know, right away, they don't tend to do it. I'm also running a fuel pump, electric fuel pump, 6 volt pump, which probably sucks the battery down, but shoot. Could let it charge some more. I mean, you heard she fired up for a second there, blew some rust out. But it's I've had drivability issues ever since I put the motor in. It's not running on all 8, and I think I got ignition issues with the distributor or the points in it or something like that. And it ran good for like the first day or two I put the motor in, then it started getting progressively worse. There's no charging system. The generator's dead. And I'm going to switch this car over to 12 volts this year. Put an alternator on it, even though they're kind of ugly, you know, but under the hood, you know, whatever. I've had this car 11 years. I've driven it 20 miles, if that, and it's been on the road the whole time. So I'm going to switch it to 12 volts, put in an electronic distributor that runs on 12, run a 12 volt pump, or get a mechanical pump. Actually, now if they back in stock, try to boost her up and get at least the crank over on 12, the lights, and I can put some brighter lights in it, because this thing is dangerous at night. You can barely see with it. I'm not a big flathead aficionado here. It's 6 volts positive ground, so when I switch this over to 12, it'll get a 12 volt battery, 12 volt coil. The generator you can't see is behind the radiator here with a fan on it. They make one with the bolts to the fan, so they have an alternator here, which, you know, is what it is. It's 2023. You want to drive the car, don't you? And everything else, it's got new water pumps, new head gaskets. Okay, I've been charging a little bit here. I put some gas in the car in case maybe it was out of gas, because it did fire up and run for a second. Let's hit it and quit it here and see what happens. Oh boy, come on, man. This thing's got to work. I hear the fuel pump. It's fuel pumping. Nothing. Come on, man. Choke it. Nothing. You got to be kidding me. Where's the small block Chevy when you need it? I mean, what? No. This thing is absolutely ridiculous here. We're getting no action. First thing I should probably do is take the air cleaner off and see if I'm actually getting some squirt action. That's got an Allen screws to take it off. This is redonk. I see a little bit of fuel at the carburetor. You guys can't see what I'm talking about because you're way back there. I took the air cleaner off and I dumped some fuel in it. I could see it like trying to squirt a little bit. I don't know if it's flooded or too much or something. We'll try it one more time. Here we go. Oh, so it needed gas to run. Okay. It's running out of gas. Huh. Come on, baby. Let the pump run for a second. So it's acting like we're not getting any gas. Because that fired immediately that time. Okay. Let's give her a little more. This is how you set things on fire. That's a lot. Try it again. So I wonder if I'm not getting any fuel out of my electric pump into the bowl. Maybe the bowl's stuck. Let's try to find something to tap on it with, because she immediately fires that way that time. I'm going to use a gas nozzle to tap onto the carburetor. Let's see if that... Come on, take some gas. This is a brand new freaking repop carburetor. Maybe she's stuck, I don't know. It's been sitting here for a while. I don't have any squirter action. But maybe eventually we'll get some. I mean, it's not squirting like it should be. I mean, I don't really have any way to hook up a gravity tank. Maybe that electric pump's not pumping. It could be weak and tired. Maybe that's my drivability issue. I'm just running out of gas. Because you see it fires and starts going until it runs out of the fuel that I pour in the carburetor. But now we're down on our battery again. Let me throw in a splash more and try it one more time. See if maybe we can coax it, but I doubt it. Seems like we gotta... fueling issue. By the way, this isn't the best thing to pour gas out of. One more time. It's getting hazy in here. It's trying to do something. Yep. It's running right out of fuel for some reason. Dang it, I don't have any way to check if we're getting fuel up here. Actually, I do. I could unbolt the fuel line and then turn the pump on, see if it's spraying. That would be one thing to do. The needle and seat might be stuck. I mean, because it's definitely running when I put gas in it. So if we don't have any needle and seat is stuck or something like that, and it's not filling the carburetor up, it's got I see some fuel in the bowl, but if the needle and seat is stuck, it's not gonna do anything. So let me tinker. It's getting the temperature way down. It's getting super cold in here. It was nice today, now it's freaking temperatures dropped right off. I could hook up a gravity tank, which is a little dangerous to have gravity feed gasoline, and I don't really have anything to gravity feed out of, like a little nurse tank like Iron Trap does, but hanging off the hood or something and just let it gravity into the carburetor. But maybe the needle and seat. I'm going to pull that fuel line out. I checked the needle and seat. The fuel well is full of fuel. It doesn't seem like the accelerator pump does much. It doesn't squirt like you would think on a regular accelerator pump. And I took the line off and ran the fuel pump for a second, and I had fuel pressure. So I don't know. I'm going to close the choke and just try it here. It's for whatever reason, it's not drawing fuel out of the carburetor. It's in the bowl, and you see it when I put fuel in it. It ends up firing immediately when I put a little fuel in there, but then it won't. This is a brand new 97 is what I remember. I have a 94. I have a 94 up in the house that I could put on it, but this is a brand new 97. Like I said, I have a 94. But this 97 should work. I want to say this is a new one from Summit. I bought it scratch and dent at Canfield at the swap meet. Maybe it was scratch and dent because it didn't run right. I don't know. It definitely is not drawing any fuel, and the accelerator pump is not pumping. It's just like dribbling a couple little dribbles in there. It should be like psh, 2 shots. I would assume if it's like a modern carburetor, it should give 2 shots of action, and it's not doing nothing. It's definitely not going to run like this. Yeah, she's running right out of fuel. That ain't gonna work. It is getting cold in here. So I'm gonna let it sit and charge back up. I'll let it charge for a couple hours here on the charger. I gotta pull the yellow car back in because it is cold and dark and scary out there. We'll just let her charge. You don't get much cranking with these 625 cranking Fs, but this engine's new and it acts like it's tight, kind of tight. It's barely been around hardly at all, but there's definitely a fuel issue. We're not getting any fuel for whatever reason, and the bowl's full. It's not transferring or something. I don't know. So might have to dig out that 94, like I said, and I got, pretty sure it's a 94, yeah. Change it. I had that on the 60 horsepower, then I bought this 97, and for whatever reason I put the 97 on it. Maybe just because it was 97, but I have that other carburetor. So maybe that's the issue. Once we get it freshly charged up, I'll change it, try it with the other carburetor. If it runs, then we can get it out of here, but we're out of beer for today. Okay, it's a couple days later, and I got out the carburetor. I had the other 97, so the 97 that's on the car, I had one on it before, and I went back and watched my videos, but this bottom plate between the butterflies was all machined out, and it made it like it wouldn't idle right or something like that. I watched my old video, so I'd taken that one off. I bought both of them scratch and dent at the Canfield swap meet, like I think I told you before, and so I don't know, but this one I had put on the car originally. It's a 94 style carburetor. Fuel Force Bully new 94. I bought this on eBay. It's a little more modern, or a little more updated carburetor, but it's got the right hole for the intake manifold and stuff that I'm running, and the linkages are pretty much the same. The fuel hookup's the same. The only problem is this has got a top on it that's for a pickup, and the pickup some of the pickups use a different air cleaner apparently, so it's got this weird lip on it. And I've got an Edmunds open air cleaner that goes on the stock 97 or whatever top plate, and these little set screws lock in the channel, and it's like got a double detent thing, but this doesnst go on here. And I used to have like a rubber silicone like tuner air hose piece of rubber on here, hose clamped around this, and it was kind of ugly to run the air cleaner on here. So what I'm going to do, I think, because I don't have a pickup to run this on, so I don't care about this lip, I'm going to take the grinder and try to grind this metal off here. It's aluminum or whatever, the pot metal, whatever this is. Trying to grind it down and make it so this slips over it more so I can use the set screws to hold the Edmunds air on there. But this carburetor worked good on the 60. I just took it and swapped it for the 97. The 97s I had mainly because of this, and they had those 97s had the correct top on them. But this one worked fine, and it's also, you know, like I just said, a Ford style carburetor. That took a whole lot of sanding, but check it out. The air cleaner goes on there. Nope, I'm all covered in aluminum. It flops around a little bit like this because it's pivoting in the center, but when I hold it in place where it's got to be like this, and I tried it, you might see on a time lapse, I tighten down the screws. When you tighten down the set screws, it mounts it and it sits level, and it mounts it up good. So that is the cure for that. We have successfully converted our 94 truck carburetor to regular jobber action here. You can see there I sanded it around. It was a 2-step lip. I wish I had a little bit of lip to sit on, but it sits on the choke here. It sits on the casting for the choke there. It's fine. And then the set screws lock it in place so it won't go anywhere. But now we can go out and we can install this on the car, and hopefully it fixes our fuel issues and we can fire the thing up and get it up here, because time is wasting. I need to get it ready for the cavalcade. Here what's the date today? The 7th, I think, and I need to have it there on March 1st. So I've got, of course it's February, so it's a shorter month. I've got 3 weeks, and pretty much, well actually let me go dig out the skirts here. We'll take a look at those. Hold on a second. Here's the skirts here. I bought these at Carlisle a few years ago, and they are 37 to 44 skirts. They're fiberglass, they're brand new, and these are nice because they have the bracketry to attach them to the fenders. You got the spring clip in the front edge here that goes in the front of the fender. It's got the lever arm that you unhook from here and you cantilever it out, and then it hooks back up on there. And then it's got a tab here on the back side, sheet metal tab and wing nut off there that somehow bolts on the back of the fender. But they're pretty thick. They're like actually almost like, yeah, like an 1/8 inch thick. Pretty good quality. I don't know who made them. The best part was $40 a guy wanted for the pair of these, and I scored them for 40 bucks. That's a steal. Like, these skirts in steel are probably $400 to $800 depending on the shape. Steel, the original ones, and the glass ones are probably $300 or $400. Some you can get without the brackets that just kind of like bolt on. This is nice because it's got the bracketry, but they're complete. This one's got a little nick out of it up here in the fiberglass, which I can fix a little bit of Duraglass fiberglass body filler. We'll sand it down here, right here. I had 38 Ford on them, but they'll fit the 37. Should. 40 bucks. How can you beat that? Oops, I should have peeled this off years ago because I've been sitting on these. I bought them probably, I want to say, 2 or 3 years ago. No, longer than that. 3 or 4 years ago now. And I've just been waiting to put them on. You can see how dirty, filthy they are, but they're brand new. They're just fiberglass gel coat. What I'm going to do is just scuff them up. Oh, I've got a nick here. Oh, I got a couple of cracks. I'm just going to scuff them up. There's some impurities in the gel coat here. I'm just going to scuff them up, and we're going to rattle can them with some black. I wish I had some like black lacquer because the car is painted a black lacquer. And it's got the like dull like lacquer finish. So I don't know if I paint them like gloss black, they're going to be like, you know, obviously gloss black, but satin black's like a little too satiny, so I'm not sure how we're going to paint match them yet. I mean, satin black, not flat, but like semi-gloss would probably be the right answer because it'd be closer to the sheen of the car and whatever it is. But these are going to go, they're like got a bubble to them. They kind of bubble out and they go on the outside of the fender. Usually, I don't know if there's some kind of foam. I might go to the hardware store and get some kind of stick-on foam, because if I just go and clamp these right to the fenders, they're going to rub the paint off my fenders, which I don't want to happen. So I got to line these at the edge, or I could take like some electrical tape and put a couple layers of electrical tape on here and just make a rubberized, gasket essentially out of electrical tape. That might also work, but these will be super cool on the car. So we got those out. All we need is the car. Once we'll put this carburetor on and hopefully it gets to work. We'll probably back it in and jack it up and start working on getting these skirts on. And that's essentially all it needs for the show. It just needs to clean up a little bit. It's a tail dragger display, so there's going to be a lot of 30s and 40s customs there. All, tail dragger lower in the back like a speedboat. It's called, back in the day, I think they call it speedboat look, but tail dragger now. And I've lowered the back of the car, I think 1.5 inches with a new old Yankee Speedco spring in the back, so it's a little bit lower. It sits just a little bit of rake. It's not quite as low as I wanted to it, because the front of the car went down when I changed the 60 horse engine to the 85 horse engine, which is bigger and weighs more. I left the 60 horse front spring in it, so it settled the front end of the car down a little bit more. So instead of being like nose high like this with a tail dragger, it's more, lowered both ends because of the front spring weight and the lowered rear spring. But I got a trick. When we go to the show, we're going to put some weight in the trunk. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's going to be a couple hundred pounds of weight in the trunk to get her down there. That'll be our little secret. Don't look in the trunk. There's going to be junk in the trunk. All right, it's a couple days later. As you can hear, there's birds outside. It actually turned really warm the last couple of days. For February, it's almost 60 degrees out. I can't believe it. So we got the door open here, so we got extra light. And it did rain this morning, though, and the only problem with having the door open when everything is cold and it's warm and humid out is you get condensation. So hopefully it's not going to condensate in here, but we got to take advantage. I want to try to get a little bit of the coldness out of here because the pole barn's not heated or insulated in the ceiling. So here's our 94. Oops, it's backwards. Here's our 94. We're going to step on here. Everything should hook up pretty much the same. The controls are a little bit different, but the rod should work regardless of that. So I just got to disconnect the fuel line, and there's 3, looks like 1/2-inch nuts, and take our rods off. Our rods are just hook on with little balls. That's what she said. And you just got a little spring clip here. You just push the end back, and it comes right off. So I'm going to go ahead and unhook all them first. That's our throttle linkage there. And then the fuel line should hook right back up. Oh, don't lose it. Got a whole pile of rags here. I painted this intake because it was bare aluminum and gas has already leaked on it, taken half the paint off, or I cleared it, or I might have clear coated it, but the paint took half the stuff off. So anyways, we'll try to grab as much gas as we can. I think I brought a little supply of tools here. I'm not sure which ones are which, but we'll figure it out. Gotta hold that guy, that's 11/16. That's 1/2 inch, okay. I brought all the wrong wrenches. Eventually, I've got to get my 2-post lift I got here I've had for several years set up so we can do some mechanical work down here in the pole barn. In the summertime, big stuff like transmissions and stuff. I'm not going to do any grinding or welding or painting down here because that literally trashes everything with dust and paint fumes. And you guys home garage, or you ever been to a body shop where there's painting and stuff going on all the time, but everything gets covered with filth and it just trashes everything. And I'm not going to store cars where I'm going to be doing stuff like that. But for now, I would like to get my 2-post lift set up so I've got some transmissions to pull out and things like that. So it would be nice to be able to do that. And here is the 1/2-inch wrench. There's 3 bolts on this. You can't, it's kind of shadowy now because the hood's up, but there's a 1 stud in the back and there's 2 studs in the front, and I take fine thread 5/16 nuts to hold the carburetor on there. But we should have some, uh-oh, it's raining again, dang it. I want to try to get this car out without it raining. It looked pretty dark coming this way. It's supposed to rain on and off during the day, so that's a bummer. Can't believe my brand new scratch and dent 97 is being a pain in the tuchus here. Got the carburetor on. I had a heck of a time getting the gasket off. It was stuck to the clear coat or whatever on the intake, so I had to actually ruin it, scrape it off. So when I put this carburetor on, I took a little bit of fine grease and I rubbed it on the gasket and set it on there. I also had to lengthen this fuel hose just a little bit. This inlet must be just a touch farther ahead. So I put a new piece of 5/16 hose on here. There's a little gap in it, so we got a little bit of vibration action here. This is the factory style running on the fuel line up across the firewall. There's a firewall fuel line clamp over here. It's all factory. Can you see it over here? Yeah. So hopefully the battery's got enough juice in it. This should fill, I'll hit the pump, it should fill the bowl right up, and I've got all the rods hooked back up. It should function. Let me check the choke. You guys watch the choke. Did that close the choke? Yep. All right, we're good there. What about the throttle rod? Can we run the throttle rod? This might not, yeah. The throttle rod doesn't work because I've got to spin the little arm on this up the other way, but this is just, you could set, it's kind of like old school cruise control. You could pull the throttle on if you wanted to, you know, cruising down the road, idle it up, and it's on a, like a cam, so when you let off it, or hit the brakes, it doesn't just keep accelerating the engine. But that needs to be adjusted. But we got choke and we got throttle cable, or throttle pedal over here. So let me jump in the car and we'll hit the fuel pump. She's pumping. Ooh, I hear it. Whoa. Got a leak. Hold on a minute. We got a leak. I thought it'd be, yeah. And just a little bit of leak around here. Let me take a look and see, since it should be filled up here. Let's see if we got accelerator pump action. Where is it? Not yet. It might not have been all the way full. Let me check these leaks. Yeah, she's weeping fuel out of this brass fitting, but I'm just gonna let it leak for a second here. I just want to see if no accelerator pump yet. And the thing is leaking all over the place. Gaskets are leaking. We get a Phillips screwdriver and tighten down all the screws here. The inlet, the needle and seat is leaking, even though I just tightened it down. Hopefully we don't have a bunch of fiascos of this. And it doesn't take much to... You don't want to over tighten things, you know, but... Don't want to strip nothing. Let's try that. Whoa, that's way worse. Way worse. Hold on. Oh no. Dang it. Oh yeah, she's just a pouring. Dang it. This is a disaster. Oh, you know what that looks like? Uh-oh. Might have a bigger problem. I see why it's leaking. The fuel inlet has got a crack on it. I must have cracked it at some point. Tightened it down or dropped it or something. It's got a crack in the front of the aluminum, or we just cracked it just now, but I didn't think it did. Maybe we did, because it's got a crack in it. I over tightened it and it's got a crack in it. Now, what in the world are we gonna do? Hey, we're back to the 97. Here we go. We take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But you notice there's new parts on here. What is it? I got thinking the only constant in this whole fiasco of this car is when I put the electric fuel pump on. And I was wondering, I thought it was meant, it's 6 volts and it's meant for these cars, but maybe one of our issues is there's got too much fuel pressure. So I had this Spectra fuel pressure regulator I bought for $1 at a swap meet. So I've cranked it down to 1.5 pounds here. We're gonna try that because when I took the carburetor off, I took it outside to look at it. I ran the cycle of the throttle, full throttle, and it pumped gas out of the accelerator pumps, and it was squirting just fine. So I I went and I took it inside, I took the jet out and I cleaned a bunch of stuff, just sprayed it with brake clean to see if I could clean it up. It's still accelerated pumping now, so maybe we had too much fuel pressure all along and it was jamming the needle and seat closed, and it was, I don't know. So anyways, I cut the fuel line back and I added this fuel pressure regulator. I turned the pump on, it seems to be all right. I have accelerator pump squirt in it now, so let's try it, I guess. You guys watch it up here. I mean, I don't know what's the worst that's going to happen. I'm going to try choking it. Oh, it fired. Okay. Oh. Man, this 6 volts is killing me. It's trying. We did it! Woo! Oh my goodness! Damn! This thing is loud! I can't believe it! It's not running the best, but woo!
It's not running the best, but at least it's running. I don't believe it, but I got to. I'm hearing it. I can't say if it was fuel pressure or what, because that appeared to work. What's with all the blow by? It's definitely not running the best. It's missing a bunch of times. We're only running on the battery, and you know, it could only be running like on 5 volts. You know, this is another reason I can switch at 12. The alternator, it's, you know, we could be running, if we're just running on straight battery, so I don't know what the voltage is, and that pump's running, so it definitely got a little blow by out of the breather there. I can't believe it. We got it. So I don't know. Was it the fuel pressure? Did the carburetor need to go outside and like just get turned upside down and looked at? I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you what, this thing's loud. It's way loud. So I'm gonna go fire up the yellow car, pull that out, and we're gonna put the hood down and see if this will start again, and pull it out and try to drive it up to the upper garage. This thing's not running good at all. But is it good enough to get us where we're going? Maybe. What's the best thing to do with a car you don't know if it runs good or not? Take it down the road. This is not a quick speed shop. We're in an old Ford, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but we're going to try it. It kind of runs. I don't believe it, but I got to. I'm looking right at it. I don't believe it. Oh, there's my buddy Pitt. these cable brakes are awesome. We're at the dump. We're turning around. Whoa, easy. This is like the best it's run in a while. It must have been fuel pressure problem. Still not running the best, but whatever. How about that? I mean, it doesn't sound like it's too happy. It's got a lot of tinging and popping and banging going along. I'm gonna guess it's because we're low on voltage and a bunch of other things, but the idle screws are cranked in quite a ways. I mean, it's running-ish. I don't think it's hitting on 8. I don't think it's hitting on all 8 cylinders. I'm not sure though. Yeah, it's missing on this side. Got a definite miss on this side. It's definitely missing. Well, even running on 7/8, it was enough to go down the road, and that's the most it's done in over a year, and it's good enough to get in the shop and get on the trailer and go to the show. So I'm going to say that's a win. Whew. Well, this has been one heck of a video. It's like a saga. It's got to be close to an hour long. I don't know. I haven't edited it all yet. But we got it, and it's up here, so now I can pull it in the shop and start working on the skirts and stuff. So thanks for watching. There it is. 37 Ford. We'll see you next time. Am I ever going to get a haircut? I don't know. If I do, you'll know about it here at the Quick Speed Shop.